Hello everyone, it is time for the October AmiAmi recap. So this month, I think I've been doing AmiAmi recap for a little over 2 years now, and I need to make some format changes. With how many scale figure pre-orders are going up these days, it's unsustainable for me to keep doing it how I was doing it. For this video, I'm going to be selecting around 10 figures that I thought were pretty interesting this month. The speed round, which I've been doing at the end of every month, is now going to be its own video. It should be a little bit longer, there should be some more figures in there, but still accept the same sort of vibes there. It's just going to be its own video from now on. So that's what's happening for now. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump into it. Alright, the first figure we have this month is Amelia Hanfu version by Furyu. And my first impression of this is that it's absolutely beautiful. I feel like I clown on Furyu a lot, and I'm probably about to anyway. But like, this main photo just looks really, really stunning. I'm not sure how the rest of it really holds up, but I really love the floral pattern on this dress. It's so captivating. And how this white and I guess it's indigo, how they work together visually just looks really fantastic. And I'm always a sucker for gold trim, and there's so much gold trim here. It's so good. I also think the sculpt and the layering on the dress is really nice as well. I think even unpainted this would look really good. I'm kind of surprised by the price because Furyu is historically very overpriced. While this is expensive, I don't think it's too much of a reach, honestly. I think they've done a really excellent job. The sculpt is great, the colors are great. I don't think there's much here that I'd really even ask to be improved. The base is pretty lackluster, but I think you can just ignore it. Amelia's dress is so big and billowy that probably not really going to see it that much anyway. My other point of concern is that her face looks a bit strange. Looks a bit cheap maybe. But I think overall this figure just looks stunning. Also got more patterns here, which is pretty subtle, but I think adds quite a lot. I think it's rare for me to enjoy a ReZero figure this much these days, since they're just so overdone. I think this one sort of carves out its own space and justifies its existence, which is thumbs up from me. Next up is the Hatsune Miku Expo 2021 online version by Alphamax. I was absolutely in love with this figure when we saw it back at Wonder Festival. I adore how unique and creative this design is. Like, it really feels like a retro-futuristic thing, like you'd see in the Jetsons or something. I think it's really cool. What's not cool is I was definitely not expecting this to be 36,000 yen. Despite how much I like this figure, I don't know if I can justify that. Apart from the concept here, there's nothing that really stands out as being particularly exceptional in terms of Miku figures. The sculpt on the twin tails is admittedly really pretty, but I think the gradient here is just far too subtle to have any real impact, and I'm pretty concerned with the structural stability of these. They look pretty heavy and they're not attached to anything. I'm not sure if there's going to be like some surprise support poles for them or something. Because the last thing I'd want is to pay this much for a figure and then have the twin tails break off or something. I think it's too much money to take a risk on. And ultimately, like, as cool as it is, it really just feels like the figure has two tones. It's got the silver and it's got like the blue Miku hair, and that's it. I think you'd really be betting on the shine and finish of the silver looking like really exceptional in person. If they could have offered this design as a prize figure or something, I would have been way more on board with it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend a pre-order, but she might turn out really good. I think we'll have to wait and see. Here we have Miyako from Princess Connect by Rebos. Oh, she's got a big spoon? I didn't even realize. I was really just looking at the pudding and I wanted to talk about that. But damn, she's got an equally big spoon to eat the pudding with. I wish I had a spoon that big so I could just shovel like chocolate sauce into my mouth. Oh yeah. For reasons other than the spoon and the pudding, I really like this. I think they've done an excellent job with the color scheme here. Because it's not just on Miyako herself, all of her colors are also on the plate, which just makes the whole thing feel very connected and very well thought out, which I really appreciate. Not to mention just the very intricate character sculpt itself as well. Even though she is very small, I think there's a lot of excellent sculpt work packed into that small package. from these ruffly sleeves, again with all of this color layering to more layering around the skirt, it just seems like an excellent production. And I do love the glossy texture to top off the pudding. I'm always a fan of having different textures on figures, and I think in this case it works really well. To top it off, she's also got this really cute, angy, pouty face. I love both of these faceplates. I don't even know which one I would pick, but all around I think it just looks excellent. I would have liked to see a bit more shading. Looks like the hair in particular is lacking a bit, but it's also the back of the figure, so I don't care all that much. Despite that, I think overall this figure is really well done, and I'm very keen to see how she turns out. This is another figure we saw at One Fest, which is Apex's Chen Ageless Afterglow version from Arknights. You know me by now, I love Arknights figures. The key art that these are based on is always incredible, and that typically leads to fantastic figures as well. I guess obviously the main draw of this is going to be this really sick looking Eastern Dragon. The first thing that really speaks to me here is the use of color. I really like how the colors are inverted. She has the red dress and the blue hair. The dragon has a blue body and red hair. This is with the way the dragon's slinking around with her. It looks really good. She do be having a dragon tail of her own. It looks like there's some really nice scale details there. Looks like it might even be metallic, maybe? And the back of her dress also just has a lot of really nice unexpected detail. Here it is under different lighting, and I think it just looks even better. I'm really impressed with this, and Apex, as usual, is only offering this for 20,000 yen, which just seems like a steal at this point. It looks really good. I'd love to have it, but I don't have any space in my room, so that is sad for me. Mythos are hitting back, though. They heard me praising Apex. And this is a figure that I saw grow up like a month ago now, and I almost pre-ordered it. This, I assume this is semi-related to the historical artifacts series that they're doing with the Chinese national treasures. But this one is based on the equinoctial dial from the British Museum, and obviously transformed into an anime girl. And I think this just looks fantastic. And I would say timeless, which is sort of corny because it's called Time Compass, but I think how they've used the cream, the brown, the bronze, it sort of feels like this old relic you've found in an attic somewhere. It's undeniably beautiful. And this base is one of the coolest things I've seen in a figure. It feels so distinct, so unique. I think the only thing holding me back from this, which I feel like I'll still pre-order her anyway, is that the character doesn't speak to me that much. But I do think, like, it looks so pretty. And I think while the sculpt is amazing, the genius thing about it is the coloring and how we have these little strands of color in this red and this blue ribbon here that really pop against the relatively drab colors of the rest of the figure. I don't even know, it's beautiful. This figure is insane. I think this is probably going to have to be my favorite thing this month, but I forget all the other things that I've prepped, so maybe I'll change my mind, but I am in love with this. I think I'm just going all in with the Mythos old artifact sort of figures that they're doing. It's such a cool theme. No one else is doing stuff like this, and I think with each one they just get better and better and better. I wholeheartedly recommend this, and I dearly, dearly hope that it turns out looking this good, because otherwise I'm going to be very disappointed. Next up is another banger. This is Good Smell Company's Kurisu Reading Steiner version from Steins Gate, of course. And this figure deserves its hype alone from how cool this base is. I feel like at this point, I don't care about the anime girls. I'm just here for the cool looking bases. They've put more work into the back of this base that no one is ever going to see than I've seen other companies put into like entire figures. I respect their commitment to making this work and look so good. They've even got like loose DVI connectors down here or something, and power plugs and stuff. It's, oh God, that keyboard is probably really cool as well. This is incredible. But I guess we do have to talk about Kurisu. I think for the most part, she looks really great as well. Everything about her just looks high quality. It looks like there's some good shading and coloring there. I'm all for it. The one thing I sort of dislike is her face. It just looks a bit weird. I think because of the art style of the eyes. I've never been a huge fan of the way the Steins Gate characters look like that. So that might just be a personal thing for me. I think if you're as in love with the rest of this as I am, I don't think that face is going to be a deal breaker. It's perfectly fine. This is effectively 30,000 yen with a quite sizable discount there. If you're paying in USD, since the exchange rate's garbage now, it's like 200 bucks. It really looks fantastic, and for that price, how do you say no? I think this is one of the coolest figures GSC has done ever. I was immediately enamored by this when I first saw it. I still think it's really awesome. You've got the metal Upa as well. This figure is one of a kind. I don't know if we're going to end up with a more fitting, more cool looking Kurusu figure than this. I really doubt it. Next up, we have this Fox Spirit Matchmaker figure by Yuewin Goods, who I've never heard of, but the figure looks cool. I just wanted to look at the bird. Do we get a close-up of it? Ooh, hello. Hello, birdie. It's kind of huge. I didn't realize its wing is just like massive. Is her name really Hong Hong? I'm gonna sound silly saying that, but I think she looks really pretty in this prototype. I really like what they've done with her whole head. I think the face looks really nice. I'm a big fan of the hair sculpt. I just think the way it flows and sits looks really nice. And the hair accessories are really nice and fit well with the rest of her outfit. Oh, there's a nice close-up of the face. I like that. I think that's really nice. I wonder if it's going to turn out looking that good. I've been stung before by figures having a really nice face, especially in the eyes, and then it just doesn't turn out as good. The base is also really cool. Looks like it's melting. I really dig it. I think the colors work well together. It's always good having like a gold and a pink. I think those are really nice complementing colors. I think overall, it's a pretty solid figure. Let's hope it turns out good. I don't know if this is actually an untested manufacturer or not, but if it is one of their first ones, I wish them good luck. Next up is the Prisma Wing Mukuro Hoshimiya from Data Live by Prime One Studio. And I'm a bit hot and cold on the Prisma Wing line. I think more often than not, they're close to greatness, but they're a bit expensive, and there's always like one thing that really bothers me that just completely holds me back. And there's always a thing, isn't there? Because for this one, it's this hair. I really dislike how plasticky and fake this golden yellowy blonde hair looks. Most of their product pictures have this like purple lighting in them, so you don't really notice how weird it looks until you really do get this close up where it's like, oh, really? Which for like a 50,000 yen figure is not acceptable in my opinion. I guess it's just like a stylistic decision, but I don't agree with it. Which is a shame, because I think when we look at the figure like this in this shot, it looks fine, but I feel like it's gonna be worse in person. And that's a shame, because the bottom half of this figure is absolutely phenomenal. What they're doing with this base, I for one love the color scheme of the whole figure, and they're very confident purple gradient on this base with these stars going boing 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 boing. That just looks really good. I love that as a concept. I wish I was more in love with the rest of the figure. You can sort of see like some constellation patterns and some starry sky stuff in here as well, which all sort of play into the same theme, even with these clear purple parts on the base having little specks of stardust in them, which is an aesthetic thing that I always really love. Especially with all the great stuff we've already seen around the 30,000 yen price point. Going up this much money, I don't think you're getting that much better of a figure, even though you might be getting more plastic. Some of these photos make me very worried. I'd be hesitant, but if you like what you're seeing, it probably wouldn't be the worst pre-order you ever make. We have to fulfill the Kurumi quota for this month, and Spirit Tales helping us out with this lingerie swimsuit version. 1, what does that even mean? 2, it barely even looks like that. From this name alone, I would expect much less clothing. In the oversaturated Kurumi figure market, I don't think this is going to be your first choice, but I think it is a nice addition nonetheless. I really enjoy what they're doing with the gears and the roses on the base. The detail and the coloring there is nice, and I think the roses add that relevant, sultry feeling to it. Some of the stuff that comes to the top of my head when I'm talking about figures is weird. This is a really cool photo from the back of the figure that no one's ever going to look at it from. I really like the clear tips of her hair. It's always something I enjoy. Look, for what it is, I like it. The theme doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I do enjoy the colors. I do like what they're going for here. I think it's respectable. Far from the worst Kurumi figure you could pick up. Next we have another Riser figure. I couldn't go a month without talking about Riser again. This one is by Alta, and as you can expect, they've done a phenomenal job with all of the details. Her outfit looks better than it ever has. I love all the details, the shading, and of course you've got the thigh pinch. That's why Riser's known for her thighs. So we've got this amazing figure here, and then Alta decides to give it the worst face on Earth. The worst part for me is that it's well executed. I think technically this face looks incredible. I don't know why they gave her those weird shifty eyes. I don't want that in my room looking at me while I sleep. It's like, it's me, Riser. Otherwise, this figure is so nice. It frustrates me. I hope that Sophie doesn't turn out with a weird, snarky, sensual face. It better not. I don't know what I'll do otherwise. And the last figure in this video is Alicia from Honkai Impact 3rd by Apex. I think this is just about the most perfect looking anime girl made. I like the colors, I like the dress. It's really short, but a nice short. Just that little bit of the thigh. Look at that. It's so good. I'm also just absolutely in love with her pink hair. It's so nice and bright without being disgustingly hot pink. It's a nice, really nice shade. And it looks like there's quite a bit of shading detail in there to make sure that there's darker bits with more vivid pink, but then most of it is just this really nice, light pink. This golden butterfly clip on her hair is really nice. The strawberry shortcake. And then I think having the black and white of the maid dress being broken up by this little splash of light blue here and on the ribbon just really makes it stand out in its own way. It really feels like it's not a generic maid outfit. It's it's specifically hers. And just a quick shout out to the base. I think it's sort of subtle, but those few elements really help sell the story as well. And also helps the pink cascade down the figure a bit. It feels like a really well thought out composition, and it really feels like Apex has delivered their A game here with their sculpting and coloring. I think it's a really attractive figure. If you're into this, I'd say it's a big thumbs up. So that's going to do it for the October Ami Ami recap. If you do want to support the channel, my CD Japan affiliate link is in the description below, where you can probably pre-order most of these figures if you'd like to. Otherwise, leaving a like and subscribing to the channel will always help grow this series and this channel as well. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite figure from this month was. But until next time, I'll see you very soon. Once again, this has been the Ando Experience, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.